Aloha, dear people. Hello, and welcome. This is Magdalena in another episode of Touchful Podcast. And I feel like I want to say that this is a historical moment, a historical episode, because it is the first one in which I'm not alone. It's not just me, it's not just yours truly speaking to you and sharing her thoughts about Hawaiian lomi and about life in general and what it means to live a touchful life. But today I am with a guest. I invited my lomi student and my dear friend Ásgeir Baldursson to be with me today and to talk about lomi and about life, about lomi awakening, about massaging the family, about receiving lomi, and about all kinds of other things that we are both so passionate about. So the result is an episode in which you will be able to listen to two people being extremely passionate about topics that they talk about. Sometimes, since it was my first time recording an interview or a talk with somebody, it was not that much of an interview, it was more of a talking. And it was my first time doing this, so sometimes I had a feeling that it's maybe not very coherent, or we sometimes start a thought and we don't finish it, but we just jump to another thought together. But still, I had so much fun and so much joy doing this together with another lomi practitioner. And I hope that you will find this episode entertaining, inspiring, and full of Aloha Spirit. I wish you a good time listening to it. Ready or not? Here we come. Aloha, Ásgeir.
Aloha, Magdalena.
Oh, it feels so weird and it feels so fun. And you're my first guest ever on the podcast.
What an honor.
So I want to acknowledge that I am both extremely excited and very nervous, and I have a huge smile on my face. I always wanted that if I ever had to talk about anybody, with anybody about lomi, then I would like it to be you as my first guest.
Okay, well, that makes me feel very honored.
So it's like no pressure, you know.
No. Well.
And like I told you before we started recording this, I find your lomi story just so beautiful and so inspirational that I just want everybody to know about it and know about you. And also on so many occasions we would talk about lomi and life and Aloha Spirit and, you know, all things around that.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had a feeling that we could just go on and on and on. And I was like, oh, I wish that was recorded, because some of these conversations were just so, I don't know, heartwarming and just so beautiful.
Okay. No pressure.
No pressure. I'm just, you know, setting the mood for today's episode.
We just laugh a lot.
So no pressure. Yeah, I think it will be a lot of laughter, which is great. We just had a cup of cacao each, so it's gonna be hopefully a good and creative talk. So I thought that, okay, I could introduce you, I could tell some things about you, but I'd prefer that you just introduce yourself in a way that you wanna tell about yourself, just to start with. So who are you, mister?
Well, I'm here probably mostly because I'm a lomi practitioner, and that I have been practicing lomi now for almost 2 years. And my entire lomi story is just over 2 years. It's probably about exactly now, 2 years ago, that sort of lomi started to really capture me. When it was sort of at the end of a COVID break, when I really started to receive it regularly, and it opened just up to me a whole new way of feeling about the world, really.
Okay, so what happened 2 years ago? If you travel back in time, who you were 2 years ago, what happened, why you even came to me to receive lomi in the first place?
Well, it's quite a funny story, actually. It was 2020, you know, COVID. Yeah. And I managed to lose the phone number of my regular therapist. So I was unable to reach her and book an appointment. So for a while I just didn't have any therapy. And then 2020 was really big in home delivery retail. So my company got really busy that year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I've ever worked as many hours a week as the summer of 2020. And when the summer was mostly over, I mean by the end of July, beginning of August, my body just said that you need to stop, guy.
It collapsed.
It basically was about to collapse. And so I started to try to find somebody else to sort of keep my body from just totally collapsing. I was having constant lower back pain, and the pain led down into the legs on bad days, and it was mostly isolated to the lower back on the good days, but it was constant, and it was pain, not discomfort, just pain, always.
So you were in pain all the time?
All the time, every day, every minute of waking, it was painful in the back. And I had even had some consultations that sort of seemed to suggest that possibly I was about to have a disc sort of displacement in my spine, which might lead to surgery and long recovery time and all kinds of bad things. So I took it really seriously and decided, okay, I will try to find the best therapist in Reykjavik. And tried actually 15 different therapists.
15?
15.
Oh, I didn't know that part of the story.
And they were quite good, most of them. There were maybe 3 or 4 I didn't really like. I went to them once and not again. Then there were maybe 6 to 8 that were pretty good. And if I didn't find any better, I would probably have been quite happy with any of them. And then there were a few that really stood out. The first one that really stood out was Aga, who was
our friend, our massage friend.
And she really helped me sort of be able to walk and go to work again. And she was giving me lots of massages while I sort of waited for the slot I booked with you.
Oh, okay, so it was this awfully long waiting time.
So I mean, when I was booking with 15 therapists, that would take, 2 months to try them out, So it was okay that it was like 8 to 10 weeks for your first available booking.
Okay, it was that time when I was probably crazy busy and booked out all the time.
Yeah. So I had this booking first half of September with you.
I remember it was September.
But I booked it at the end of July.
Okay.
And then I started this therapy. And so I was able to actually walk, but I still had pain. And on good days, I was sort of didn't have much pain, just discomfort. And that was sort of the first step in the process. And then I started seeing you, and then something miraculous happened when I finally got to have regular sessions with you. And I don't know exactly what it was, but sort of now I feel like it was my first steps into vertical time. And that it was sort of the first time that I felt like embraced with Aloha Spirit or something. And
which probably you had no idea at the time what it was and why it felt like that.
No, but it sort of felt really weird because, I mean, I had no other massages that would feel, I would walk out just uplifted and absolutely like dancing on clouds. After a session of massage. This was weird. But I think it took about maybe 2-3 months of regular sessions every week with you. And the back pain was gone. Now I have discomfort occasionally when I'm not, taking good care of myself. But otherwise I'm just like, no pain.
I remember that when you came to me these over 2 years ago, it was also very important for me that we had regular sessions, because at that time you were one of my very few clients who were regular clients. Now majority of my clients are regular clients that I have in regular therapy. But at that time, people would just come occasionally. Most of my clients were just treating massage like an occasional treat.
Yeah.
And then you showed up, and I remember that it was really regular, to the point that it was actually once a week, like you said. And for me, it was just seeing you and seeing how you improve and how you change physically, but also, like you said, something in you was changing, and I could see that.
Yeah.
And we used to talk about it on many occasions.
Yeah.
That was very important for me as well, to understand that it works for some people. I have some stories of clients, like one miraculous session and somebody is just perfectly fine. But for many of my clients, it's this, and for myself as well, when I think about me receiving lomi over all these years, it's this kind of like regularity, but in a sense that you step on a path and you walk this path.
Yes, and you improve sort of gradually, maybe not totally linear growth or anything, but sort of over time there is definite growth and improvement from all these sessions. And often problems that are, well, I mean, there are times when something miraculous just happens in one session.
Absolutely.
But usually, and especially if it actually has to do with an actual physical injury or
especially if it's chronic or it has been there for a very long time,
then it will take a long time to do. I mean, for example, I have a really regular client. This is my mom. And almost 2 out of every 3 massages I give are for her. So it was like it was the first person that I gave massage to after I learned massage.
Okay, let's have a little bit chronology, because I know this story and I already feel I'm gonna cry. This story always touches me so deeply, and I want to talk about it. But before that, let's even explain to our dear listeners why you even decided to learn it. I have many regular clients, and most of them don't come to me one day telling me, "Hey, I want to learn this." So what happened that one day you came to me and you said that, "Hey, I wanna learn this"?
I think actually, in retrospect, looking at it now, that it was actually quite magical. The sort of this feeling of being sort of embraced with Aloha Spirit, which sort of felt seeping into my heart, my soul. This really, how to say this? It sort of brought magic back into my life, and I could sort of feel that this was something that my scientific thinking brain couldn't really understand what happened. How did this cure me of chronic back pain? Why does it feel like like life is wonderful when I walk out the door?
When it's just a massage.
Yes. So I thought this is a mystery I need to unravel.
Okay.
In a way, and it was also just like, maybe I can actually learn it. Maybe I can give this magic touch to other people.
Okay.
And maybe I can help Mom. It was sort of like that. But it was something deep inside me that really wanted to learn it even before I had all these good reasons to do so.
Okay, so the need to learn it and the desire to learn it was first, and then your mind started to rationalize it, sort of why I should learn this.
And came up with lots of good reasons.
And they are perfectly fine reasons.
Yes.
And just like whatever reason it was, I'm so glad that you did learn this.
I totally transformed my life.
And not just your life, because like you said, there is this story with your mom. So how was it? Well,
I mean, it was it was in 2021 in February that I learned the massage, this absolutely fabulous course that you teach that can just change people's life.
Advertisement.
But yeah, I would say that was sort of really started something in me that I would call a spiritual awakening. I found magic. The kid inside me woke up. I can see how wonderful almost everything actually is. I mean, if you open your eyes to looking at everything as if it's brand new, wow, how can you see through glass?
Yeah.
If you start thinking about things like that, why is the sky blue? Then you can sort of get in touch with the kid in you.
Yeah, this
you can see
adventure.
The magic, and you can believe. And believing is actually sort of half the journey. If you believe, then it would be much easier for that to materialize, rather than if you are very skeptical and guarded and don't know, this is a mumbo jumbo, I don't believe in it, then probably you're not going to receive what is on offer.
You mean this magical part that
this
is
magical
there.
Part. You'll just miss it. You are too busy resisting and not believing, so you don't see the light.
I just keep smiling and I'm just like borderline laughing out loud, because I remember this guy who came to me over 2 years ago. This very serious man.
Business manager.
A businessman who just was like, just fix me so I can keep going.
Yes.
Just fix my body so my body can keep carrying me through my very, very busy, serious life.
Yes, exactly.
And that's why I love your journey so much, and I'm so happy that I'm a part of it. A big part, actually. I'm gonna acknowledge that. Of course, I am.
Yes.
Because
and I'm very grateful for you for that.
To see your transformation, it also somehow connects me to my own transformation. What Lomi brought to my life. When I think about myself from these 7 years ago, so before Lomi, I literally think about life before Lomi.
Yes.
Like I remember that I was somebody, I had a life, but I'm like it felt like I don't know if it feels like this for you, but to me it feels like it was so long ago, like in another lifetime. Yes. Before I awakened, and by awakened I mean what you said, just awakening to what we call this everyday magic, ordinary magic, that life can be about so many joyous, simple things.
Yes.
And kind of like opening eyes to magic. Oh my goodness, we're gonna sound like two crazy people on this podcast. I love it.
we are two crazy people.
Yes, we definitely are. Okay, so you took this training in February 2021.
Yeah.
And I remember that, to me, teaching you, that this training was quite special for many reasons. And one of the reasons is that you were training on your family.
Yes.
Which was quite unusual. So I just need to make a brief explanation for the listeners that when I teach on individual Lomi trainings, we of course need people to practice on. We sometimes practice on each other, but we still need, on almost every day of the training, we need somebody to practice on. And I usually invite my friends or my clients or my Lomi students, especially recently. Or sometimes I ask my students if there is somebody that you would like to invite to be the body so you can practice on. And I think at that time you were the only person who invited your family. So I remember that you were practicing on your son.
Yes.
And on your wife.
Yes.
And how was that for you? Because I'm gonna make a wild guess that it was probably the first time ever when you massaged your son or your wife in like this kind of like a formal full session setting.
Yes, of them basically lying naked on
a bench. Yeah, yes. Exactly.
Yes, definitely the first time that I've done that to either of them. But I mean, of course, like with all your loved ones, I mean, you will sometimes massage their shoulders or something like that, or give them a pat on the back.
Yeah, or just cuddle together.
Cuddle together, or lie on the sofa, and, like that. Just comfortable with each other. But yeah, that was the first time that I did that. It felt for some reason, it felt so natural. And actually the reason why I wanted to have them was because I thought that I would probably have the most opportunity to practice on my own family.
You mean after the training?
After the
when
training.
You will need practice.
And because, like your friends would mostly be, rather young, in fairly good shape, easy to massage. My wife and my son are not sort of average, So there were certain challenges with massaging them that I felt that would be really good for me to get some tips on that during the training, so it would be easier to continue practicing on them. And but it hasn't quite gone exactly like that. But I have massaged them both several times since then, and but they're not majority of my massages. My mom is.
Okay, so let's move to the story with your mom, because it's such a beautiful, heartwarming story. So how it even started that you started to massage her?
Well, I knew that she was in constant chronic pain. You had been able to heal me. There was really everything that was needed for her would be so time-consuming, so expensive, and so unsure that it would even work. So I just started with the first touch. I mean, it was 2021. There had been COVID lockdowns, and all services, physical, training and rehabilitation of the elderly at the nursing home my mom is staying at. All of this had been suspended in the name of, preventing the spreading of a disease. So the bodies of the elderly were just deteriorating, especially the invalid ones that then didn't get the necessary physical training. So my mom had actually deteriorated very badly in 2020. She was better before that. And her arm, especially the left arm, which is absolutely paralyzed, but she still has feeling in it. This one was so wooden. It was like a branch of a tree to touch it. It was rock hard. The hand was gnarled and then constantly shaking, and she was in constant pain. And even just touching her lightly on the hand anywhere, starting to just give her the lightest of touches, was painful. So I was a bit, can I do anything really? And I remembered this sort of, this absolutely delightful palm massage that is often part of a lomi session, something that really sort of calms the nerves in a way that no other part of the massage does.
There's something special in touching the hands.
There's something really about sort of lovingly sort of massaging the palm. And there the skin is slightly tougher, the touch was not painful, and I could sort of gradually, maybe I spent 15 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes on just massaging the palm. And I could see on just this that it actually helped, that the tension in her hand had lessened a bit. It was still, miles away from being usable. It was still in, horrible pain and everything, but it had mildly changed. There was an improvement. And now...
and how fast was this improvement?
It was so fast that I could see improvement in every session.
Okay.
Every session. So every time I could go, I went. And, it is absolutely so unbelievable. I don't think I will ever be able to explain this to people who don't experience it. How much of a gift it is for a middle-aged man to be able to help make the life of his invalid mother better. Less pain, more love. And it's just absolutely magical. And this has changed my life. More than anything, I think that this is what has just like absolutely filled my heart with so much love, so much gratitude. That it's, you just well up and become all very sentimental when you start talking or thinking about it.
Yeah, let's just look at two of us now, just crying and like, oh, that's such a beautiful story. But I remember that you would send me messages every now and then
About progress.
About progress with your mom.
Yeah.
And each time I was reading them, I really, like, tears into my eyes were coming, because your story, that's there are many reasons why I love this story so much, but part of it is that I could really feel that this is why I want to do it. If I want to teach, I like teaching. I like taking people on this adventure, on this transformational journey.
Yes. Because it is quite a transformational
journey
journey to take your course. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm like each time I would read a message from you about some progress with your mom, and you can in a moment tell about this progress because it's quite impressive. But then I like my heart would just almost hurt with all this Aloha Spirit. We need to explain in a moment what Aloha Spirit is. And I would think to myself, and I would feel that this is why I want to do it. This is worth it. This is what Lomi is for, so we can connect to each other in such a simple way.
Yeah.
Like one of the simplest ways, through the touch. And at the same time, it's just so deep and so transformational. Like I hesitate a little bit to use these huge words, like big transformation, but it really is. It really is.
It's about understanding the power of love, basically.
And I feel that especially with your family. Like I remember the first time I massaged my dad, and it was just like you massage your mom, just fully clothed, and my father had some pain in the shoulder, and he was like, oh, my shoulder. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you a rotation, and it was just maybe 15 minutes. And of course the rotation has helped him, because it's like Lomi techniques are effective, they help. But it was not the most important part. The most important part was to connect to my father on a completely new level, and something changed. Heart to heart. Like really presence to presence, life to life, meeting life. And something changed in our relationship since then.
My relationship with my mom is has really changed. And just to have this compelling reason to go visit her every time that I have free time, it's a gift. And our sessions have developed over time, and starting from this sort of gnarled, shaking tree branch of constant pain, now she has painless days, after my treatments. And this is just unbelievable progress. But it was slow, and it took time, and we're talking about 200 sessions over the space of 2 years.
And some of these sessions, they were just very short, like you said, 15 minutes of a hand massage.
I think the first one was maybe 10 minutes. And then it slowly progressed, and now I'm usually about an hour with her. Sometimes 40 minutes, sometimes 70, but usually an hour.
Do you have a feeling that she is looking forward to these moments?
Yes, she lights up when I say, "Hello, Mama." She just absolutely, she lights up. And I can see the sort of wellness and relaxation from these tensions. She had a stroke, so she is paralyzed from that. And stroke is so different from this normal paralyzation that she has not lost any of her feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So she feels every touch,
Mm-hmm.
every loving touch she feels. And so she has felt me massage with love her wooden limbs until they're soft and supple. And most of the things, it's just so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely the most lovely thing that has happened to me for, well, maybe all my life.
Mm-hmm. Couple of times during this recording, both of us, we used this expression Aloha Spirit.
Yes.
So what it is to you? How do you understand Aloha Spirit?
Well, aloha in Lomi is usually delivered through what we would call aloha touch.
Mm-hmm.
It's the touch of loving grace delivered with, compassion and care. And I feel like the Aloha Spirit is more like just an embodied thing.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of when you meet the person, for example, during a Lomi session in Aloha Spirit, then the whole sort of, your whole being is sort of filled with this feeling of compassionate, caring love for the miracle of life
Mm-hmm.
that you are connected to at the moment. That's sort of how it feels,
Mm-hmm.
this Aloha Spirit. And it is sort of, you can ignore it, mostly. And it will just feel like a warm, fuzzy feeling, maybe at the most. And it won't really, you are not really receiving it fully, I think. And that sometimes happens also with the Islamic sessions, that you can feel that the other person doesn't really feel this.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's because people aren't fully relaxed or fully opened their trust.
That's the word that came to me. I thought about trust. Because when I think about my sessions, my clients, even the sessions that I had with you, so many of them,
Mm-hmm.
and about like so many of my beautiful dear clients come to my mind right now, I feel that it is about trust. And also when I think about my own journey, even receiving Lomi from you,
Yes.
there is this
You are starting to trust me.
Yeah, certain level of trust. And from my mind, I always trusted you.
Yes.
I trained you well. I mean, I know
Yes.
that your Lomi was good, but I always tell my clients and my students that, what your mind thinks,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of ultimately doesn't matter that much, because it's this earning trust,
Mm-hmm.
like from the body. It's this like life meeting life, like I already said.
Yes,
This
yes.
meeting of two life forces that are beyond the mind, I would say. And this is when a true trust is built.
It's when you feel absolutely safe to be you.
You, exactly.
Yourself.
Exactly.
Nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, absolutely open up any vulnerability, and it will just be a release.
Mm-hmm. And I feel that this is the true moment of healing, when you feel that you can open up your defenses, or metaphorically we can say that you put down your masks, or whatever you want to picture this. But this moment
Mm-hmm.
when I feel that I am me, and
Mm-hmm.
and I feel I had a Lomi session with you yesterday. You massaged me, and I got this feeling that I am me,
Mm-hmm.
and that I feel connected to myself. It sounds so shallow and spiritual, not in that sense, but that I was able to meet myself,
Mm-hmm.
and to kind of get touched by what I met. And
Yes.
that was very beautiful, and that was healing, and that showed me how little compassion I have for myself, and how much I demand from myself.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow how sometimes I'm so harsh on myself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in this moment of trust
Mm-hmm.
that appears in Lomi and in the presence of this spirit of aloha, I was able to really meet myself.
Yes.
And that was extraordinary. And every moment like this, when it happens, whether it's in Lomi or, it doesn't need to be in Lomi in many different occasions, but it's this, like, wow, there you are. I missed you so much. Here you are.
And it's so magical that this just needs to be a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you sort of go into this sort of space between time,
Mm-hmm.
where there is no future and no past, and it's just be here, now.
Yeah.
And even if it's just, a split second, that can be all the time that is needed for the magic to happen.
Absolutely. Sometimes it is just a moment of it, like a second or a couple of seconds, and that's enough. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But when I listen to us talking about Lomi and about your Lomi journey, it sounds like it's all been, sunshine and rainbows and unicorns and just continuous, sun rays and just beautiful, beautiful 2 years. Was it really? Were there difficult moments in your Lomi journey?
Yes, mainly. It was like dancing on roses, bare feet. They have thorns,
Okay.
There were a lot of times where I sort of was full of just doubt and, didn't really feel that I could ever, do this. Be fully there and actually help people. And does anybody really want, a midlife guy to massage them? All these kinds of things. And there are, of course, periods. I mean, I'm not, running this as a business. I'm not advertising. I'm not telling anybody. And so it comes and goes. And, sometimes you have this busy time, and then you have very slow time. Seems like nobody wants to come. And but it's all relative, and it's sort of gradually, it's just changing, and I can see that people are pleasantly surprised. Let's put it that way.
And then there is one more thing, probably many more, but there's one more thing that I want to talk about for sure, is receiving.
Yes.
Because I see you as a master receiver.
I didn't used to be.
So I would like to talk about receiving Lomi and a couple of tips from a master receiver who didn't used to be a master receiver.
No. Actually, it has happened recently, and that actually you were a big change in how I receive. It somehow, and again, I think this is from Aloha Spirit. There was more to receive. But it was also about going from this. When you go to a massage therapist, and there is not much talk. There's the bench. You lie on it. You said hi to the person that is going to massage you, and maybe they asked you, do you hurt anywhere? And then the massage starts. There is no talk of exactly what is going to happen, and people are often really unsure because this is a vulnerable position to lie naked on a bench and somebody stranger is touching you. So usually I would just go and be like, a bit apprehensive about, I'm not sure what is this massage going to be.
So you mean your apprehensiveness, it came from just you not being sure what to expect?
Usually not sure to what to expect on many occasions. how am I covered, you know, is this going to feel sexual in any way, or, you know, stuff like that. That you know, you don't expect it to be, but if you don't know, then it's going to be
your
in
mind,
the back of your mind, sort of bugging you.
Yeah, your mind plays
and you
scenarios.
cannot really fully surrender and relax because of this. And you were probably the first therapist I met that would had like this sort of really explained how it's going to be, and that this will be like that, and that will be like that, and you know, this will be covered, this won't be touched, and this will be touched, and everything else will be touched, but you know, and then you're just like, okay, I'm good with that.
Okay, so you mean that it just helped you to put your mind at ease?
Yeah, and then I started to explore sort of the art of receiving. I mean, how much can you relax? Can you only relax physically? Or can you relax emotionally and mentally and even spiritually? You know, how deep can you relax or reach sort of this calm, half meditative state where you can just like fully receive whatever is being offered to you? And you are absolute trust. And you have full faith in that this trust will be honored. And if you manage this, there is almost no limit to what you can receive.
So what is receiving to you now? How do you receive lomi or any other massages that you
It depends a lot. I mean, most of my receiving is done through exchange. I mean, I give to a therapist and they give to me. It's a very nice perk of being a practitioner.
Yes, yeah, we get lots of exchanges through.
And you always learn something from an exchange, you know, even if it's just, you know, that, oh, yeah, it's nice to push that muscle that way or something, you know.
Or sometimes you learn that, oh, this actually doesn't feel nice.
Yeah, also that. But, you know, so this, so I started to be able to relax. I started to be able to trust. So now I could go into receiving, and I tried different things. Sometimes I would just leave the room, you know, go on a journey somewhere. Sometimes I would sort of feel like I was outside of my body and looking at the session from above or something. It was very, you know, interesting feelings going on in my subconscious, probably, if we want to stick to a slightly more scientific way at looking at it.
I love this little scientist in you because I have it in me as well. It's like, oh, let's explain everything scientifically. I know it.
But I also understand that, you know, there is no way that all of existence is something that we can perceive with our tiny little minds and our five senses and all the measurements devices that our brains can think of. We're probably not even measuring the right thing. You know, we don't have the imagination to know what it is that we should be measuring. I mean, because there are many things that happen that are not explainable. And these things like with Aloha Spirit and with the vertical time and sort of going totally into this sort of now, you know, because if you live life fully, then you are really always present here and now. You're not thinking about tomorrow will be great. Yesterday was fantastic. No, here is great.
And here is the only thing that is.
This is the only thing that is happening. The past is just the memory that I have here and now. And the future is just projections and expectations about something that hasn't even happened. And I've come to learn that even if things happen,
they happen in the now.
They always happen in the now. And they are usually don't, even if they come to, you know, fruition, and what you dreamt of happens, it almost never happens exactly the way you thought it would. You know, there are even different people involved. The outcome is surprisingly different than you expected, but equally valid and equally nice, really, or just, in the unique way of living life now.
I feel that it's something that also Lomi gave me, this kind of like understanding, but understanding through the body, that really the only moment that is this moment.
This moment.
And that the quality of this moment is the quality of my life currently.
Yes.
And I don't feel connected to it all the time. I very often, play movies in my mind, and I don't so much think about the past. It's kind of like more easy for me to leave the past in the past, but I quite often travel into the future or into the realm of imagination. Like since I was a little girl, imaginary world was my escape,
Well, yeah.
And
I actually have that too.
Yeah, and now when I'm an adult, I find some sort of safety, quote unquote, because it's of course fake safety and fake control, with this idea that I can plan something, that something will happen. Whereas of course when I'm really true to the moment, I'm like, but this is the only thing that is.
Yeah, but it can't be the reality of this moment, that you are planning to meet these people at that place at that time, and you are planning to do this. And it's not necessarily going to be like you imagine it.
But still, it's the truth of this moment that I'm doing it and planning it. And that also helped me, practicing Lomi and stepping into what you say, this vertical time. Yeah. It kind of really helps me to connect to this feeling that there is only now. And it doesn't mean that I'm just gonna leave carelessly and, run through the meadows and, with my hair in the wind and...
No. But enjoy planning.
Yeah.
Instead of, just be wistful about what's going to happen and start to imagine all kinds of scenarios about it. Just enjoy planning what you have in mind, and then enjoy the journey when the time comes.
And enjoy whether the outcome is there or not.
Yeah, whether or not. Try to just, and also just to cherish the now when it's really good.
I would say that this is actually receiving. It's receiving the moment.
Yes.
We started talking about receiving, and then we diverged into this beautiful philosophical talk. But it's actually exactly about this. Yes. That would you say that receiving Lomi helped you to receive life and receive the moment in general?
Yes. Yes, I would say that, even if I hadn't thought about it in that way.
That was a highly suggesting question, because I just realized that that's what happened for me, that practicing this helped me to receive life in general.
Yes, and actually sometimes during Lomi sessions, time just goes like that. Mm-hmm. The session is finished almost before it started, and 2 or 3 hours have passed, and you're like... Wow.
Yeah, there are sessions like this.
And those sessions are actually, I feel, almost as healing for me as receiving a really good massage.
You mean when I
manage to do Lomi, that actually where I'm almost in vertical time the whole time. Mm-hmm. It's such a awesome feeling to be fully present in the here and now, without past or future at the moment.
And now the little brainiac in me is like, okay, how do I do it? How does one does it? I'm like, if you could give, a piece of advice, a wisdom from Ásgeir, a master receiver, because, I massage you quite often, and I'm just always amazed by the depth you open up to receive. Because to me, receiving is an active thing.
Yes, it's very active.
I can give as much as you want, but if you don't receive it, then it's not being delivered. It's not being taken. I sometimes tell my clients, if you don't take it, nobody takes it.
Yes. So, for example, one of my deep ways of receiving is to actually do something I learned in yoga, to be motionless, like like you're lifeless. Mm-hmm. And there is no muscle in your body is tense.
So like in Shavasana in yoga.
In Shavasana
like
in yoga, dead body pose, lying on the floor like a dead body. And just allowing the breath to come and go without actually even trying to breathe. I can do that. And then I'm fully present, and I will just, to stay in the present the whole time, I will just focus my mind on nothing but the touch.
That you feel, the
that
touch
I
that
feel.
you feel.
So the touch on my skin, the pressure or kneading in my muscles, the slight shifts in my bones, all this, just concentrate on what is happening in my body exactly as I feel the massage.
So would you say that your attention follows the touch?
Follows the touch and its effects in my body. And this is actually a really mindful practice, and I am absolutely 100% there, and I can probably recount the massage from A to Z. Exactly how you began, what you did the entire time. I will almost remember the whole sequence of the massage if I do it like this.
So you mean you don't drift away, you don't go on a journey, you don't leave the place.
And this allows, this almost gives like full allowance for the body to receive the physical aspect of the massage. But you usually do not totally relax emotionally or mentally or spiritually in this case. I can go deeper, and then I just then I just open sort of my other bodies, and that way I have had all kinds of truly spiritual or emotional experiences, especially in Lomi. And it has really opened my eyes to seeing the world in a more loving way. And just being more understanding and and know that, people are good.
Okay, and in this deep opening that happens, let's start with Lomi, but then we can take it to life as well, because, to me, Lomi is like a little laboratory of life, I sometimes call it. You are no different on a bench than you are in life.
Exactly.
You take yourself. Whether you do Lomi or receive Lomi, you just take everything with you always. So let's start with this receiving Lomi. How do you receive the moments of tension when there is... because there are some certain moments of Lomi when the work is really deep.
Yes.
And we go ever so slowly to make sure that we never cross the border and we don't go to pain. But sometimes there are moments when the client, the receiver, might experience like, oh, here is a block. Here is a tension. Here I feel discomfort. Here I feel something.
Yes.
How do you receive that?
Well, actually, if I'm already in Shavasana, physically, absolutely without any, or I'm actively relaxing all the muscles of my body and making my body as limp as possible. If I manage to stay in that state physically when I receive the massage, there will be no tension, no blockage. It will just go through it. I've actually, because usually it is the mind that is stopping you. Like, for example, I have experienced this with some receivers, is that they are anticipating discomfort. So they start to actively stop me because they do not believe that their body can actually move in such a way. But if you are totally relaxed and you trust so completely that no, she's not going to hurt me, then there is no tension, and it can really almost go wherever. It's really weird. And it goes so much deeper than people believe they can.
The range of movement is
for example, when people fall asleep on my bench, Have you?
That is actually what I thought.
When you do rotations on a sleeping receiver who is absolutely drifted off and is not there, then then there is never this sort of pushback of the mind. No, I can't do this. You know.
Yeah, because it's very often like there are of course like physical blockages if there is like some structural change in a joint, but mostly I absolutely agree with you that it's often that the mind anticipates that it will hurt because it used to hurt. For example,
Yes.
like I call it this memory of the pain that we
Yes.
hold on, and the body wants to protect you by tensing up because it used to hurt or it was always like this. Whereas in Lomi, one of the main teachings is that everything is always brand new. Everything is always brand new.
Yes, and that is actually the key to sort of finding Aloha Spirit in your heart and filling yourself up with Aloha Spirit. It is actually, don't take anything seriously. You don't really know what it is. Neither do you. We don't know.
We don't know.
No. But something clearly happened. Thank you.
But then how you meet tensions in life then? Because life has its moments. It has blissful moments and amazing moments, but of course has moments when, there are some little fuck-ups and big fuck-ups and, in company that you run and also in your private life and all kinds of moments that feel like tense.
If I knew, then I wouldn't have any problems. It's...
But okay, let's start like this. Do you feel that your way of receiving tensions and receiving difficult moments in life, do you feel that it has changed over these years?
Yes. I am much more aware that life is as we see it. That is, my life is as I see it, and your life is as you see it. And even if we're looking at the same thing, we may not exactly agree or describe it in even such a way that a stranger looking at our two descriptions would never ever think that these were descriptions of the same event. We both witnessed this. We both went to the theater. We both watched that show or whatever. But we have totally different feelings, basically, about it. So we perceive the world, our world, with our own eyes and minds. So yeah, I'm rambling.
No, I mean, no and yes. I kind of feel that all this episode is a little bit of a rambling.
Yes.
But it is a very beautiful rambling. At least I enjoy it very much.
Okay.
And I was wondering also one thing that I wanted to ask you before I check the time. Oh, perfect. We will be finishing soon. But I also wanted to ask you, what are you most excited about when it comes to, your Lomi journey right now?
Well, actually, I'm truly excited about the fact that I can help my mom, and that I can continue to make her life better than it would without me having learned this and being able to help her in this physical way. It is also, I'm truly excited about my sort of recent discovery of Aloha Spirit as something that I can sort of call.
Okay, so something that is always there and you can just
call
it in? Or?
It's a bit like prayer, actually. I mean,
Lomi is a praying work.
Yes.
Whether we want to speak it out loud or not, whether we actively practice a prayer or not, Lomi is a praying work.
No, I mean, that is how it is defined. The most important thing often is the intent. What do I want from this Lomi session? What if I know what I want to receive, and if I then open myself totally up to it and trust and even step into vertical time or something, then anything is possible. Anything. Yeah, it almost feels like you're shining. It's really weird. I don't know if anyone sees my eyes sparkling brighter or something like that. Maybe, I don't know.
But you feel it.
But I feel it in myself, and I feel sort of. It's quite spiritual actually, and it gives meaning. And sometimes when you see, a client comes and they look a bit down and worn, and you talk to them a little bit, and then they lie down and dance around the table and meet life there. And then they stand up after the session, and it's like there's a new person there, you know, like they got a fresh coat of paint or something.
Absolutely.
There's some kind of shine or sparkle to their soul sometimes. It's really uplifting to see.
And it amazes me that it happens every time. In different people to different degree, of course. Sometimes it's such a huge transformation that I was massaging a friend on Sunday and she told me, I feel reborn. Again, I feel reborn. Every time I come to this, I feel reborn.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very spectacular. Sometimes it's just, a little shine in the eyes, but it's always there. I so much love this moment when people stand up after the session or just sit on a bench and, some of them, they kind of like look around, just carefully around just to see how the world is because it just feels so different. I remember once a client asked me, is it normal that I have a feeling that colors are brighter?
Well, actually, it can be induced with a technique.
For sure.
It's a way of calling the Aloha Spirit, and it's sort of embracing the inner child and then doing a prayer and mixing this together, but you still don't know and how it is actually happening. But yeah, everything is brighter when I feel filled with this spirit, everything. And the world looks more beautiful. There doesn't seem to be any problem really. I mean, now is great. There are no problems now. And this is one of the things that I've learned from Lomi, is that a problem that is a problem tomorrow is not a problem now.
It's not a problem now.
I mean, I'll deal with it tomorrow if I live to see that day. And if it's still a problem then, okay, I'll deal with it.
Then you will deal with that or not. But it will. When it's there, it's there.
When it's there, it's there. Now it's not here.
And that reminds me, one of my first Lomi trainings was probably the second training that I ever attended to. And I remember this moment when I received Lomi, and it was a very beautiful session. I remember that I cried a lot. And then couple of hours later, I was standing under the shower, and I suddenly felt that something that used to be such a problem, like such a burden on my heart, I was like, suddenly I just realized, like, I don't feel it anymore.
Yeah,
it's not there anymore. It's just and it was many years ago, and until this day I remember this shock that I was in. I was kind of like checking inside me, like, do I still worry about it? Do I still believe this to be true? Is it still a problem? And I was like, no, it's not there anymore.
And it really is, this sort of exposure to the now, which often is part of a Lomi session. It somehow just drags you there sometimes, especially if you're really open to receiving and have this trust and faith. Then,
one more thing comes to me, and one more question, because from our talk, one can easily make an assumption that it's such a spiritual experience. This whole Lomi thing, it's such a spiritual thing. It's such a grand spiritual awakening. God knows what, almost shamanic thing. And my question is, what if somebody just wants a massage? Is there a place for people like this on your bench or in general?
Yeah. Then they just receive the physical aspect of the massage. And if they aren't really open to the other aspects, they are unlikely to be touched in that way.
Though I don't know if you agree with me, but I have a feeling that it still sometimes might happen.
It still can happen.
You probably had clients like this. They just come for a massage.
Actually, my story is quite like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, when I first came to you
just wanted a massage.
I was just looking for a massage. I had no idea what I would get into. And if anybody told me, you know, I don't know. I would probably have been scared witless. Absolutely.
And I love it that it's not something that I can control, or it's not something that I need to control. It's just everybody receives what they need to receive, what they want to receive, what is there for them to receive. And it's sort of like, I almost feel, the more I massage, the more I feel that it's kind of like actually none of my business what you receive. It's kind of, you know, it's your journey. It's up to you. I know that I want to share my best lomi that I have in me, and you will receive something out of it.
I can agree with that, but I find it often enhances the session quite a lot if the sort of intent or what you want to receive is known to both the practitioner and the person coming for treatment.
So you mean this moment when you as a practitioner ask this person, like, maybe, what can I do for you? Or
yeah, how would you like to feel after this session? What is it that you are looking for? You know, in a way.
Yeah.
And usually it's, well, my shoulder aches a bit. And, you know, that's an easy problem, a really easy problem.
And that's a good start, actually, to be able to aware of that and to take care of your physical body.
Sometimes it's quite more, you know, than that. I've even had, you know, stories of people who have had, you know, it has taken them a couple of weeks to digest the session totally. And in some changes help them make decisions about their life that were pertinent. You know, it's something important for them.
Oh, I feel we could go on and on. That's what I love about our talks, and probably we will continue after I turn off this mic. But for now, I want you to tell our listeners where they can find you if they want to book a session with you.
Oh.
Where are you, mister?
Well,
how to find you?
Well, it's relatively easy. You just find Mahalo Ásgeir on Facebook. The page is called Mahalo Massage Therapy, but that's the tag, Mahalo Ásgeir, and you will always be easy to find it. You can book there. But actually, this is and there's a new thing happening. I have almost no sessions left this year. I have never had the bookings, so many bookings as now. And but it's relatively easy to find me, and there are still, I think, 3 slots left in December, and then there's next year.
I'm gonna put the link to your Facebook page in the show notes for this episode, in the description of this episode. So if people want to find you, they can find you for this couple of the sessions that are left this year or for next year.
Yes.
Is there anything that you would like to add or say, something that I didn't ask and you feel that it's really important for you to share before we officially wrap up?
Not really, except that my life has now much more sort of meaning, and I found gratitude, which actually I think is the key to happiness. And it will take a while until I totally embody it, but I feel that this is a very good turn for my life, and that sort of, I will really enjoy walking this path.
When I look at you, there are so many things about you that inspire me, but I feel that one of the things that inspires me the most is that I feel a man who is ready for adventure and kind of like, let's experiment, let's try this, let's try that. And this kind of, even when you mentioned the gratitude, as you said, like, I don't embody it fully, but, and then you said something else like, yeah, but it's this, life is a constant experiment or adventure, or whatever you want to put it.
Yes.
And I see you very much as a person who embraces this experimentation or adventurousness of life.
Yes. My current experiment is to look at life with joy and gratitude, and just be absolutely grateful for being here now.
Yeah, and just kind of, I'm going to do that and I'm going to see what happens. Because why
yeah,
not?
I mean, there are always a million things you can be grateful for if you really want to. I mean, I'm breathing. I'm grateful for that. You know, I'm alive. I can smile. I feel, really good. This was fun. You know, all kinds of things like that. So it's really easy to find the good in life and look at life with a little bit rosy eyes. And actually life smiles back at you and becomes quite lovelier than if you are being grumpy and looking at the things that are not exactly as you would desire them to be. Because it's appreciating what you have rather than lamenting what you have not.
Yeah.
Of course you can, you have this wonderful mind and you can start planning how to achieve something of your dreams, and you can that can be your now, and that journey can be quite an adventure. And my lomi path is like that, an adventure. I don't know where it will lead.
A perfect wrap up. Thank you so much for this adventurous talk, and I'm so glad that we pulled out this mic today and decided to record an episode. It's been a pleasure to talk to you and to listen to you, and thank you so much. Thank you for you.
Thank you for you. Can't wait to hear my first podcast episode.
Maybe it's not the last one. Maybe we will have more.
We'll see.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And I will talk to you next time. Aloha, everybody. Bye-bye.